Hey guys, this is Mr. Lefevre here with your next sketchbook assignment. It's a little assignment similar to the tires and tubes. I like to call it ribbons and spheres. I'm going to be showing you how to draw different kinds of ribbons that are going to fill this composition. So this is going to be a composition you're just going to make up on your own. You're going to, besides drawing the ribbons, you're going to need to collect some items that you can draw circles with, different size circles. So look for some things around your house. I brought a styrofoam cup, a bottle cap, some Nutella, yum, another cup, large cup, and a little juice glass here. So you're going to start by just drawing your circles on your paper. You want to have at least 5 different size objects. So you're going to just place them down, and actually you can kind of just put them on the paper to begin with, to just start, if you like, to kind of rearrange them where you want so they're kind of spread out. Make sure a couple of them, just to make the composition look like it exists beyond the borders of this paper, let a couple of them kind of run off the edge of the paper like you see, look, I've done with my larger ones, but keep the majority of the circle on the page. Don't run it all the way off so that only a sliver of the circle is on there. And I'm going to be giving you some instructions that are going to come along with this, other than just the video. So I'm going to arrange my circles on there like that. Then I'm going to trace around them. Pretty simple. Maybe I can adjust a little bit, get this one in here. The big one. And the yummy Nutella. All right, we've got our circles. That's the easy part. Now what we're going to do is these ribbons are going to kind of flow across the page, curve and flow. They don't have to go through these spheres like the tires went through, or I'm sorry, the tubes went through the tires. But so maybe like 3 ribbons is sufficient. So I'm just going to imagine maybe one kind of swooping through here. Maybe one going right across. Let's take one going right down the middle. Okay. Kind of flowing like that. They're going to go behind the spheres, and then maybe I'll have one come down like this, and then they can crisscross too, and maybe I'll make one, instead of having them all go the same direction, I'm thinking composition, change it up here a little bit. Maybe I'll have one kind of come through here. Yeah, like that, right through there. Now I've drawn over the circles, but they're going to end up just going behind. Okay. And these are the paths that our ribbons are going to follow. Okay. So now what you do to draw the ribbons, you're just going to, crisscrossing over that line, you're going to draw like a wave, like a sine wave. Okay, like a frequency, like you would see with a sound wave, like it's going to look like a sound wave. Okay, so I'm going to start off the paper, and I'm just going to flow back and forth like this, and I can end there because it's going to go behind the circle. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing, starting off the page, paper coming on like this, go back and forth like that. And then let's do the, before I do this one, before we get too complicated, I'm going to finish this one now. I should have done that maybe. So now what we're going to do with this first sound wave, we are going to draw another one that intersects it. So instead of starting up here, I'm going to start down here. I'm going to cross over, like making an X. I'm going to curl up like this, filling in this gap. Then I'm going to come down here like this, and draw these lightly, because as you can see, you're going to want to keep the flow going, and you may end up drawing over your circles. So obviously you're going to have to do some erasing, and you're going to have to erase these path lines. So make sure you draw everything lightly in the beginning. I'm standing up and drawing. That helps me to take the weight instead of working on a vertical surface. I'm working on a horizontal surface, obviously, so that I can videotape this with my iPad. But also you probably don't have an easel at home, so you're going to be putting this on a desktop or tabletop or countertop. So it's best to see this by standing up over it so you're at a distance away from it. So anyway, obviously you can see loose grip, and I'm drawing lightly. I'm filling in these gaps in between. I got my whole arm moving, going up and down, flowing like that. So now it sort of looks like a double helix, you know, a DNA strand or something like that. Okay, like how I bring science into this, yeah, and some math. All right, so now doing the other one. Actually, I'm going to start up here because I'm going to have to do a little loop right in here. Fill this in, fill that in. Keep crisscrossing like that. Okay, so we have that one. And I know they don't look like much yet, but they will. Okay, so this last one, I'm just going to start kind of behind this circle. Go like that. I'm going to not really draw, but I'm going to keep my thing going because I didn't want to get it too confusing in here. So I just sort of kept my pencil moving, but didn't really, kind of like air drawing, like air guitar. You guys ever do air guitar? That's like back in the 80s. That's my deal. Okay. So now I'm going to crisscross, going up like this, down like that, up here, down. Whoops. Should have maybe drawn it more. Okay. But I think I got it. It's getting a little crazy. Maybe you don't want to make yours quite as crazy. Maybe you want to spread yours out a little bit more. This is getting really crazy. Maybe not a good demonstration, but anyway, we'll make the most of it. As long as you get the idea of how to make these ribbons. And again, I'm going to send out a PowerPoint presentation that is going to show this step by step, and it's going to show you how to draw the ribbons separate from all the other stuff. So it'll be a little more clear. All right, next what I'm going to do now is connect some of these peaks. Okay, I'm going to go every other one on the top, and then I'm going to do the opposite ones on the bottom. So what I want to do is I want to draw a line, like almost like I'm laying a board across the tops of these peaks. Skip this one, do this one, skip that space, do this one, skip a space, and then off here. Now on the bottom, I'm going to do the gaps in between. I'm not going to go right below this one, but I'm going to go below, opposite, like this. So then once I do that, again, right across the peaks, or the bottoms, I should say the valleys, skip a space, go to the next one, skip a space, go to the next one. Even if it's going to cross over something, you still want to draw those lines in that gap. Imagine it's not there, and then skip a space. I wouldn't have anything there. Whoop, and I got one more that I have to do here. Now, when you draw your waves, you might not be as good at lining them up. Like you might have one that goes like this, and then your other one is kind of like ends up short like this, where the peaks don't line up. That's okay. Just make sure it's going across those, even if it ends up, because you know ribbon can end up all twisted and stuff. So even if they don't end up even, just connect the tops no matter what angle they're at. Okay. And then you just continue that process with all your other ribbons. And you can start anywhere. Just make sure you're skipping a space and going opposite, and make sure you can see everything that's going on. So I would do another one here, skip this space, do one here, skip a space, another one here, skip a space, and then this one would go off. Now at some point you're going to have to decide where you have overlapping ribbons, which one's going to be in front and which one's going to be behind. But that's going to be up to you. And then on the bottom, again, going across here, skipping this space, going across here, skipping this space, going that one, skipping a space. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to bother with the other one because I want to get on to the next stage of this. So now you have to decide there's two different ways that you can make these ribbons, how you can make them look. And I've done this on a separate piece of paper so that it makes it a little bit easier to understand. Okay, so to get a corkscrew effect, there's certain things you have to erase to get that effect. So what you see is when you overlap these sound waves, you get these X's where they overlap. So what you have to do is you're going to be erasing different legs or arms of these X's. Okay. So let me draw these back in here where I already erased them. So to get a corkscrew effect, you starting with the first X, you're going to erase the upper right. Actually, you can go down the line and every X where you have two peaks connected, so those are the only ones we're worried about, where we have the peaks connected. Every X where you have a peak connected, you're going to erase the upper right arm. Upper right arm. And then to get the corkscrew effect, then you are going to erase the lower left leg of the next X, okay, which has the gap there. So I'm going to erase lower left, where am I? Lower left, and then we're kind of off the page. Now you can begin to see how this sort of looks like a corkscrew. Okay, so remember, upper right and lower left for corkscrew. Now to get a wave, it's a little bit different. So we still start with the upper right. We have the connected peaks. We erase the upper right arm where there's the connected peaks. Upper right, upper right, upper right. Okay. And then the one with the gap, we erase the lower right. So I would erase lower right, lower right, lower right. And so now you can see it looks more like a wave rather than a corkscrew. Okay, so that's how that works. Then once you have everything drawn and you've erased all your lines, then obviously you can go in here and erase this line too. And then you're going to shade everything. You're going to shade your spheres. And I'll be sending along, I'm not going to get into the shading now, but I'll send along a sample of, how to shade it. Pick where you want your light source to be coming from, upper right, lower right, upper left, or whatever, and then shade your spheres and shade your ribbons accordingly. And just message me if you have any questions.